Oh, hello from Premise to Publish week 21. And I'm going to do it a bit differently this week. While this is still a totally unscripted video, I do have a list of dot points. I was going to say in front of me, but I will get those up. So sometimes I do write a list of dot points and even include my word count on the page so I've got it there in front of me when I need it. But I always forget to read the dot points. This week, what I'm doing differently is I will actually read the dot points because this might be one of the most important videos of the series. A bit of an over exaggeration. Let's just roll with it.
No fluff writing advice. Cut the fluff!
This video contains a special offer that will benefit me as much as it benefits you. One, I think I managed to retain my voice after recording a long review, so that's a plus. But I'm recording this on a Wednesday afternoon, my time. I know that's probably, I don't know, Monday somewhere. But tomorrow, Thursday, when I release this video, I'm officially launching my new business, Dream Cannon Publishing. Well, it's not technically a new business, it's more of an old business with new features. So essentially, all that's really changing is I will be offering my editing services to whoever wants them. It's surprising how much work has gone into setting up this business, and it shouldn't be surprising because at the start of the year, or even before that, in the lead up to the new year, we started setting up my wife's business, her home salon. And it's like, I thought, oh, well, my business is a little less complex than that. Should be easy. But you think you've thought of everything, and then you realize you've probably forgotten half of it. So hopefully everything's under control now, but let's talk about the logo. So I got a local artist to design a new business logo. Maybe in this part of the video, I will show the old logo I had. I had this AI generated concept that I was using as like a placeholder. So let's just say I'll edit in the old logo here. Look at that. Yeah, isn't that shit? Now, the big improvement. I'm actually really happy with this logo. It's wild how much back and forth we had to do to get it how I wanted it. Everything from who would have known there are so many different styles of cannons, and then colors. Oh, that color's not right. No, that's not quite right. And then I didn't think I'd be so picky about fonts. I'm usually pretty easygoing with these sorts of things, but until we got the right font, it just didn't look right to me. Anyway, the new logo is probably edited into the video now over my head. If I didn't do it before now, I don't know. And just a quick side note, the designer, the artist who did that logo is currently working on the new version of the cover for my novel Demonology and the Art of Pickling Demons. So sometime in the next month or so, maybe, I should get to reveal that. And I'm actually really excited about the direction this is going. I've already seen some concepts and I think it's going to be good. All right, here's a good question. Why did I call the company Dream Cannon? Well, when I published my book back in, I think I eventually published it in 2024. I bought the ISBN and I needed a publishing company name to put in there. So I just put in Dream Cannon because I thought it sounded cool. And now if I ever want to promote the company in a big way, I can can you hire real cannons these days? I assume I can hire a cannon and maybe like promotionally shoot books into the air or something like that. Look, I'm never going to do that, but the option's there. And I did set up a Facebook page for the company as well. So if anyone wants like constant updates, you can find Dream Cannon Publishing on Facebook. Maybe I'll put the link in the description. That's the thing to say, isn't it? So when I was setting up this business, I thought about it a lot and I didn't want to just do do your edit, here's your document, send you on your way with a slap on the bum sort of approach. I wanted to do it in a more of a teach a man to fish sort of approach. Like if you look at how I've described the services on my page, which is the website's now live, by the way. As I'm recording this, it's still under construction, but by the time this video comes out, the final pieces should be in place. But if you look at my services, in any of the like intensive editing services, there's like an aftercare portion to that, I guess you could call it, where it's like we collaborate and I make sure that anyone who gets an edit, whether it's a developmental edit, or a what I'm calling a comprehensive edit, I work with them afterwards in whatever format they want. We can do video calls, voice calls, chat, email, whatever works. It doesn't matter. To make sure they can actually action these suggestions and understand them. And when you're helping someone to understand an editing suggestion, you're also teaching them how to edit. So, what I would like to see, and maybe this isn't the smartest business approach, but like say someone comes and it's their first novel and we do a developmental edit. I'd like to see them get to the point where it could even be after one edit, they're doing their second book and they say to me, look, I learned so much from the first one. I don't think I need this type of edit this time. So, yeah, I'll be doing the editing and going through the normal process, but hopefully, I'm also upskilling the authors at the same time. So, all the editing services are described on the website. So, I won't go into details here. If you have any questions, shoot me an email. My email's on the website. So pricing, that's probably the big question people have. It's definitely been one of the hardest parts about setting up the business, finding the right pricing structure. So at this stage, I don't have prices up on the website. Some of the services, I need to see the manuscript before I can give a quote. There are a couple there that will have like a very set static price. I might add that at some point, but then working with multiple currencies as well, it's like the currencies are going to keep fluctuating. Then I'd need to keep that updated. So I'm not sure about that yet. But if you need a price on something, just shoot me an email. So my plan with the pricing was to keep it as low as possible while still making it worthwhile for me. Like I have to look at this as partly a passion project. Yes, if I'm going to spend this much time on something, I need money coming in, but I don't need to make it a money grab. Look, I think we've all worked for businesses or even seen businesses where it's always about the profit. It's always about growth and more money. And it's capitalism. It's just how the system works. But when you're running a small business like this as a sole trader, I don't feel like you need to do that. Yeah, I'm just fortunate that I haven't had to rush this process. I've been able to sit back and design this business to be the way I want it, a way that will, you know, benefit me as well, as far as, channeling my passion and not burning out, not taking on more work than I can physically and mentally handle, but also in a way that I hope benefits indie authors. I'm sure there's like a cheesy business phrase in there somewhere regarding like the teach man to fish approach. Like, we don't just edit, we elevate. Yeah, so as far as services and pricing goes, I got a lot of input from actual indie authors, which has been really helpful. So thank you to everyone who offered suggestions. And moving forward, if anyone does have any feedback or suggestions, shoot them my way. Oh, another thing I should mention as well is the indie reviews that I'm currently doing and how this relates to that. I imagine some people whose books I edit would want to submit those books for review. And I can't very well review a book I worked on. It would be a conflict of interest. It wouldn't be fair. So with books I do edit, if the author wants to, and not all authors will want to promote their books in this way, and that's fine, but I want to offer something where it's not a review, but maybe some other way to promote it, whether they want to come on the channel and do an author interview, or whether they want me to like talk about the editing process we went through and promote the book that way. Yeah, so I don't want authors to miss out on being able to promote their book on the channel just because they've gone through editing with me. So yeah, I'm open to suggestions on that one as well. You wouldn't believe it. I wrote all these dot points. I have word count right here written as a dot point with an ellipsis. I didn't put the actual word count in. Bear with me. The word count is 32,810, which is an increase from last week. I got a pretty big session in this week, and I'm actually starting to like the direction the book's going, so that's always good. I don't hate it yet. I think I skipped over one of my dot points. Did I mention this? I'm not even sure. It has been a long day. So as it says on my website, before I offer any editing servers, or the extensive ones anyway, I do a manuscript review, which is just a complimentary thing. I just look at the first 4,000 words and assess it like, is it ready for editing? Because I've edited so many things that I've had to edit them when I worked at the publisher, because these authors that's what they'd paid for. But in my opinion, they weren't ready for editing. So if a manuscript comes to me and it's not ready for editing, I'm just going to say that. I'm not going to go through the pain, I guess. The thing at that point, when you're at that point where it's not ready for editing, like when you're still at the rewriting phase or the whole thing needs to be rewritten, that's not editing at that point. You're sort of delving into the word. It's half editing, half ghostwriting to an extent. With that said, I do offer ghostwriting services. So if anyone comes to me and says, hey, I've got this manuscript, it's an absolute bulldog's breakfast, will you rewrite it for me? Yeah, of course. But if you're coming to me with that same manuscript thinking it just needs an edit, I will explain why that isn't the case. So I want to start things off right and in a fun way. So I do have a special offer. And I probably should have scripted this part of the video, but bear with me. And this is for someone or a manuscript more accurately that meets very specific requirements. So if you have a manuscript that is at the stage where it's ready for a developmental edit, and now that my website's live, as long as it hasn't crashed and burned on the first day, under the services, it'll explain what a developmental edit includes. So it's got to be absolutely ready for a developmental edit. And let's say under 100,000 words. I think that's probably a fair range to work within. And you sign up for an editorial assessment, which is what I'm calling a mini developmental edit. It's like the light version. It's all on there. It's on the website. I won't go into it now. I don't have the price on the website, like I said, but I might maybe have a look and flash something up on the screen, like a rough estimate of what that might cost for a 100,000 word manuscript or something like that. Yeah, I'll flash something up just so I'm not wasting anyone's time on this one. So I will upgrade that editorial assessment to a developmental edit. So the first person who emails me and actually meets those criteria, I am going to be picky with it because, oh, I forgot to mention. So yeah, there's something in it for you, but it's not completely selfless. There's something in it for me as well. I also want someone who's willing to give feedback throughout the process to help me improve it. So I think I've got a pretty solid process almost from start to finish. It's just the aftercare portion I'm not 100% sure on, because when I worked for the publisher, we had such big budgets that you could spend a lot of time with the authors when you needed to, jumping on calls and, whatever they needed. And obviously to keep, the prices accessible, I can't spend, 50 hours on calls with an author after the edit. But what I don't know is how long they will need. So I just want someone who's, yes, give feedback throughout the whole process, but is also sort of willing to test the process and help me figure out whether I'm budgeting for the right amount of time or not. So if that sounds like you, email me, matt@dreamcannon.com. Like I said, the first email that comes in that meets those requirements, and I will be picky because there is a point to this, the first person who meets those requirements will get that offer. So 3 goals with this business, or 3 questions I need to keep asking myself. 1, am I enjoying myself? Because if I'm not enjoying what I'm doing, then the business isn't working. 2, is the business seen as an asset to indie authors? If it's not working. 3, is it earning enough to make it worthwhile? If I can't pay the bills, it's not working. So it's been a hectic and somewhat mentally draining week setting all this up and finalizing everything. So I'm going to go relax for a bit after I edit this video and the others I just recorded. If you enjoyed this video, hit subscribe. If you didn't enjoy this video, hit subscribe anyway and hate watch my content. That's always fun.